Wow, look at me. I have a body now. I'm not just a disembodied voice with subtitles anymore. Welcome, newcomers. I am Glenbot, your one-stop shop for all things Disney-related, and today I will be discussing the Swiss anime adaptation. I've been following it for a while now, but wanted to wait until the anime was finished before I gave my full and honest opinion. I'll mainly be focusing on the dub, since I'm sure a lot of people are already familiar with the OG voices of the characters. Oh, and spoiler alert, since this review will be covering the whole of Book 1. Now, is this adaptation any good? And what will this mean for Twist as a whole? Let's find out now. The anime is mainly adapting the manga, with some cuts to a few scenes here and there. Instead of just having the characters awkwardly nod and interact with the camera like in the games, there's a real person standing in as Yugen Enma, a student from Japan who made kendo club at his school and was transported to Twisted Wonderland, and he is quite dumbfounded by the magical mayhem of Night Raven College. Honestly, with how familiar I am with Disney and magic in general, I often forget that this world will look weird to the average person, not to mention how unintentionally creepy the Night Raven College ceremonies would come across due to the hooded robes and the coffins, gates, which I forget if there was any explanation as to why the gates look like coffins, especially since the school relies on bear travel for the majority of the story and never uses them ever again. As for the main conflict, Book 1 introduces us to Riddle Rosehearts, who is twisted from the Queen of Hearts, and boy, does he give an impression. Off the bat, he already doesn't seem to like our dear Yugen for barging in and disrupting the school ceremony. But that doesn't stop there. He's really gung-ho about following the rules, and it doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. Forcing his students to recite poems and restricting what they eat and drink during lunch hours, it can get pretty hectic as the anime carries on. Okay, so first off the bat, we've got some heavy hitters in the dub for sure. I've got the list of voice actors here on the screen if you want an idea of who's voicing who right next to me, and let me say, I was pleasantly surprised to see so many big names, which showed they really wanted to give a high performance here. The highlights for me were Jonathan Ha as Yugen, who I think is kind of a newcomer in voice acting, but I really liked how he delivered Yugen's confusion, and just how natural he was overall. Another were the voices of Riddle Rosehearts and Dark Crowley. Tatum sounded right at home voicing the sus Birdman, as well as Castro making Riddle as haughty and full of rage as I would hope. While I would have preferred if he didn't have a fake British accent, the emotion especially when Ace finally got to let loose on Riddle, as well as his overblood, and very wonderfully made. I was definitely sat good and proper like an honor student in class the way he performed. As for the others, a few of them took some getting used to, and the biggest one was Benjamin Diskin's vocal performance of Grimm, which came across as squeaky and a bit grating in the first few episodes, especially when he would get excited or angered. Though, I do think that he and Yugen bounces off each other very well, and you can clearly see their chemistry was there whenever they would have scenes together. After a while, it started to get better for me, but I wouldn't blame anyone for having the opposite opinion. Another thing were the general accents. Though there weren't many, I was baffled by Sober and Rook having one especially. I wonder if they have a more narrative reason as to why they gave Sober an accent? Like, is there a lore reason? As for Rook, I kinda don't mind it as much, since a few of the other voices, at least to me in the dub version, sound a little too similar. Who I'm referring to being Azul and Jade's voices, especially Jade's when he just speaks in general. On the other hand, Ace and Deuce also sounded really, really similar, and it was hard to pinpoint them. Though I wonder if that may have also been intentional, since I get the feeling they might have been based loosely off of Tweedledee and Tweedledum, but that's just my speculation. Overall though, the dub was very excellent, and even the performances that may not have meshed well, in my opinion, felt very good, like they were trying the best that they could to give a solid performance. I'm excited to see how they grow in the future. Okay, so here's where I'll have to get a little critical. The anime, while stunning, definitely has its drawbacks. The still shots that were used constantly outside of action scenes,
The animation errors.
and the frankly lazy OP. Speaking of which, I like Piece of My World just as much as Next Guy, but I really wish they made their own original song. Or maybe switch it out with the dorm songs for that particular arc, or maybe the character songs, so that it could be more tailored to the dorm at hand. At least they kinda did that for the ending, which looked much better visually in my opinion. I just don't like how most of the characters either just stand and grin at the camera, or stand around and grin at each other, or sit around with each other. What does that tell me about the characters? Or about the setting? Or about anything regarding the world itself? Just a lazy way for the showrunners to have a reusable title card, which I find disappointing. Editor Glennie here. I forgot to include this in the main part of the script, but I was disappointed that they didn't really delve much into Yugen as a character. We never got to learn much about him or how he paralleled Riddle aside from superficial things, like his mostly nonchalant nature and his superhuman strength, not to mention his physical appearance. I will add nothing more to that. What was Yugen like before the Kendo Club? What made him interested in it? And how come nobody asked any questions about it? The length of the season being only 8 episodes, I think, really robbed us of having a great, rounded, interesting character. As well as some fun interactions between him and Adu's duo. I think if those things were able to be expanded upon, Yugen could come across as a lot more memorable. But here, I worry if maybe a few fans would find him as a bit like a generic, everyman, perfect, super-like character of some sort. I don't know. I will say that the character designs were spot on and looked really good, with the biggest draw being the eyes and lashes, especially the overblock eyes. Them lashes are long. The backgrounds and general compositing was really impressive, however, and the way the phantoms were animated looked really, really clean. Instead of an ugly CGI moment that could have looked like it was from a completely different series, or like an old PS1 graphic, they made it look very well made, with the movements looking uncanny in a deliberate and very creepily fun way. I really like their cross-hatching effect that they used to make them look more seamless, too. Above all, I'm sure the anime can improve, and with the positive reception I've been seeing from both Twist fans and newcomers alike, I'm rooting for everyone to succeed. I'm hoping a book 4 through book 7 could be possible, and I think the anime could help with certain scenes or pacing issues, maybe even some more anime original content. Like, imagine the anime tackling that one moment in book 7, eh? That would be really cool. I'd like to thank you all for watching this through to the end, and I hope that I did enough to earn your subscription and like. I hope that you enjoyed this little rendition of my sprite as well. She took me some time to create, and I'm really proud of her. In any case, I salute you, my cat sneak ears. Goodbye!